you start speaking against this global union and this God that is being worshipped globally and unitedly under the umbrella of Rome, which is none other than the Trinity, you start speaking against that, you're going to be in serious trouble. Revelation 13, verse 13 and 14, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So this is the picture we get from this particular verse. Doing great wonders, doing signs, but the one I want to focus on here is in verse 14. It says, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles. So this is the point. There is going to be an issue of worship that is going to be pushed through deception. In other words, in the last days, you really, really have to be aware that you cannot take things at face value. You have to understand that what you see on the TV, what you see on the screens, what you hear in the news, what appears to be a certain way cannot be taken at face value according to the book of Revelation. If you believe prophecy, you have to understand that there is a different agenda happening behind the scenes, different to what is coming out of the mouth. What appears to be very nice, very fantastic, very good news is actually a satanic agenda. Now, I say this mindful of the fact that this sounds like craziness to a lot of people. I'm just telling you what the prophecy says. This is what Revelation reveals to us. And if we understand prophecy, this is the only way really to interpret what's going around us, what is happening all around us. We see this agenda progressing more and more and more. Deception over worship. Now, this is confirmed that this is the issue. And some people say, well, you know, you're trying to really push your point here. This is not, the Trinity is not an issue in the last days. It most definitely is. Because actually, if you look at the Pope and the Pope's recent encyclicals, they actually mentioned this very particular point. It has to do with worship. This is the God that is worshipped. I want to read a couple of them for you from his most recent encyclicals. He has 3, but the last 2, the last one is actually this last year only, in 2020, in October of 2020. Here is what it talks about, and I want to quote from it briefly. This is his encyclical Fratelli Tutti. Now, an encyclical of the Pope is an apostolic letter of instruction. They are very authoritative. They equate them to the epistles of like Paul, the apostle in the scriptures. Okay, this is how it's treated. And this is October 3, and this is a direct quote from this particular encyclical. Here is what he says: if we go to the ultimate source of that love, which is the very life of the triune God, we encounter in the community of the 3 divine persons the origin and perfect model of all life in society. Theology continues to be enriched by its reflection on this great truth. So the great model for society is this triune God, this Trinity. And what happens in society and the issues in society, trying to resolve them, trying to come to peace, harmony, unity, all of that stems from the triune God, according to the Pope. So it makes sense now. You understand when the Jesuit priest prays at the inauguration of the president of the US, and he prays to the holy mystery of love. He invokes the holy mystery of love. He's invoking the Trinity, and he actually quotes the Pope when he says the Pope tells us to dream, and we are to dream and accomplish this, and the God that will help us, and we're praying to accomplish this is the Trinity. We invoke that. Amen. The collusion between the 2 powers. This is what's happening. Now, continuing in this particular encyclical, at the end of the encyclical, the Pope actually offers a prayer. Here's what it says: an ecumenical Christian prayer. Notice who he prays to. O God, Trinity of love, from the profound communion of your divine life, pour out upon us a torrent of fraternal love. So that helps us understand who the Jesuit priest and, the one who prayed there at the inauguration, who he's talking about. This is the Trinity. It's none other than the Trinity. This is in 2020. That was in the encyclical. But here's another encyclical from 2015. His previous one, and this is Laudato Si encyclical, and where he touches a lot on the issues of climate and nature and climate change and caring for our environment. This is also what he has to say about it, relating to the God that is worshipped. Everything is interconnected, and this invites us to develop a spirituality of that global solidarity, which flows from the mystery of the Trinity. So this union, this global solidarity, this global union, spiritually, which has to do with worship actually, comes from or flows from the mystery of the Trinity. That's what Rome says. Remember, Rome was given its power, its seat, great authority by the dragon. The worship that goes to Rome, to that beast, is actually worship to the dragon, according to Revelation 13. And we're told that in the last days, a second power will arise, the United States. He'll begin speaking like a dragon. He will exercise deception and enforce an issue of worship that is globally, and it has to do with the Trinity. When you talk about some of these things, people, like I said, they say, well, I'm not so sure about that. Let's just focus on what we know. Meaning, let's just talk about the Sabbath. It's interesting that you don't find the issue of the Sabbath and Sunday actually agitated and at the forefront when it comes to what the Pope says, as much as the God that is worshipped. Do you know why? Because the God that is worshipped in Rome is more important than on which day that God is worshipped. As a matter of fact, they worship on that day because they worship that God. They worship on the Sunday because they worship the sun god, the ancient sun god from Babylon. I'm not going to go into the details of trying to prove that. We've done that elsewhere in other videos. But the danger and the fear today is that, well, you're trying to distract us and we need to talk about the real issues. Brothers and sisters, this is the real issue. This is not us trying to, promote what we feel strongly about. This is not us trying to push our agenda. This is the real issue according to prophecy. I have to say it loud and clear. I have to spell it out. Even though there might be danger, and I know there is danger. There is danger when you speak plainly these days. But the issue, as far as the book of Revelation is concerned, is an issue of worship. And this worship goes to the first beast. And this first beast has his power and authority from the dragon. In other words, it has to do with dragon worship. The deception in the last days is over worship that goes to the dragon. Now, of course, the dragon is not going to try and convince people to worship him openly. He will exercise deception. He will exercise subterfuge. He will exercise things that will appear one way, but in reality, behind the scenes, it's something else. We have to be mindful of that. This is what prophecy tells us. And the scope of this and the influence and the reach of this is a global reach. It's on a global level. This is going to be for the whole earth. This is not just an isolated pocket here or an isolated nation somewhere there. This is actually for the whole earth. This is from Zenith news agency. And this is what it says. This is in June, right? June 2020. More than COVID, an anti-Trinitarian mentality is destroying humanity, suggests Cardinal Bo on Feast of Holy Trinity. So here is Cardinal Bo, a cardinal. That's a pretty impressive and high position in the Roman Catholic system. And he says what's actually more dangerous to the destruction of humanity than COVID, than the virus itself, is actually rejecting the Trinity. When he says anti-Trinitarian, he's talking about or meaning anyone who rejects the Trinity. Why is that? Because this is the God of Rome. This is the God that the dragon gave them power, authority, and a seat in order to promote and influence the whole globe, the whole world. The whole world wanders after the beast. Not only that, but the second beast rises and he exercises the power of the first beast and promotes through deception the worship of the first beast, which is the same God. So anyone who opposes that, anyone who speaks against that, anyone who rejects that God is actually more dangerous to humanity than the virus that is the pandemic all over the world today. So you think it's dangerous to talk about the virus and the vaccine and careful? Well, guess what? Coming very soon. Already we see the warning signs. You start speaking against this global union and this God that is being worshipped globally and unitedly under the umbrella of Rome, which is none other than the Trinity. You start speaking against that, you're going to be in serious trouble, more trouble than because you're in more danger than the virus, and more trouble than you would be if you speak about, say, against the vaccine or whatever and so on. Because today even people make videos about the vaccine or and suggesting maybe you should take the vaccine, maybe you shouldn't take the vaccine, maybe you should ask questions, maybe you should avoid it. And people who try and throw any negative light on the vaccine, they're eliminated. Just wait till some of these issues come closer to home. So I'm aware that what we're sharing here in this video could get us in serious trouble. I'm aware of that. That's what I'm saying. It's a risk, but we have to speak plainly the truth of God's word. It's a risk. One day someone might go dig up some video and, oh, look, he spoke against the God that is being worshipped. Grab them, kill them, whatever you want to do to them. This is something that is real, brothers and sisters. We have to consider that. We can't joke around. We can't, well, let's just be careful just in case and hide our light. The issue is an issue of deception. There are many thousands, millions in this world who are being deceived into accepting something that is sold to them as being one thing, when in reality, it's totally different. Prophecy reveals what's going on behind the scenes, and it's our job to declare that.